Hello guys, and welcome to my build update number 1 for the Airfix 1/48 scale Orca Fury 1. That is my entry into the Spanish Civil War group build hosted by Michael. That's Mod Art 633 on his YouTube channel. I'll be doing it in those Spanish Republican Air Force colours as you see there. So I started off by working on the cockpit, and I came across my first problem. The seat was missing, and if you look at the instruction sheet, section 4, it's part number 10. So I checked the photograph from my introduction video, and you can see the upper sprue there. There's a space between the machine gun cowling and the cockpit floor where the seat should have been. Anyway, I had to raise the pilot up, so I cut a bit of section of runner off that's by his left foot, and I used that as a spacer. I then drilled his arsehole, I drilled an hole in his butt, stuck a cocktail stick in that to prepare him for priming, and then I got on with building the engine. Got the parts together, glued them all together, and there you can see the engine's all ready. And again, I drilled an hole in the base of the engine and stuck a cocktail stick in there, so it was ready for priming. I then moved on to the exhaust stacks, glued them into the fuselage halves. You can see inside the starboard fuselage there and the outside of the port side fuselage. I then filled the ejector pin marks in the wings and the horizontal stabilizers, and then got everything ready to prime on cocktail sticks. And then I took everything to the spray booth, and then I sprayed flat black on all the interior parts to prime them. Then I used an interior green, sprayed that on the interior parts, and then I worked on detailing my pilot, as you can see in these next few images. Painted him up. He needs a clear coat, and then probably a little wash before I'm finished with him. And here I detailed the engine. In these 3 sides you can see the engine paint. It's basic, and I'm not sure if I'm going to leave the cowling unglued so it can be pulled off to show the engine. Not sure yet. Well, anyway, here's the cockpit parts. Very basic: instrument panel, pilot, joystick, foot pedals, and there are all the interior parts ready to go in. Oh, and just a quick view outside where I live, just to show you that the river's frozen over and this fresh morning snow had settled on the solid ice of the river. But absolutely marvellous weather for staying indoors and doing some building. So I got back on with it, and I stuck the instrument panel in and the cockpit floor. Very basic looking. And then I stuck the pilot in onto the seat, and it was ready to button up. And I put the fuselage halves together, and as you can see, the pilot blocks the hole, so you can't really see anything. And then I put the bottom wings on, and the next thing I did was to move on to the horizontal stabilizers, and I glued those in place. And then I dropped in the vertical stabilizer with the rudder. Just dropped it in, it's not glued because I want to be able to handle that when I'm masking and painting it. Next I filled seams and gaps on the underside, and also in the wing roots there were gaps. And then I flipped it over, and when all the filler had dried, I smoothed that down, smoothed the seams down and sealed them, and she was ready for priming. Next I moved on to the wheel struts and the radiator housing, oil cooler, and glued those in place, as you can see there. And there's a view of us standing on the wheel struts now. And then next I temporarily located the machine gun cowling and the engine cowling, upper engine cowling, and I secured them with some putter, so she's now ready for priming. I then glued an hole in the tab on the vertical stabilizer and put that on a cocktail stick, made her ready for priming. I then cleaned everything with some isopropyl alcohol, stuck the struts on some cocktail sticks, wheel struts and wing struts, and then masked the engine and the pilot cockpit area, and then took it to the spray booth, and I primed her with some Model Master Grey primer, and that was it for this build update. All built up, primed and ready to start painting, which will happen in the next update. So at the end of build update number 2, she'll be all primed and decaled and given a clear coat, gloss clear coat, ready for doing some washes, weathering, chipping, etc, etc. So that's it for this build update, my first one for this build. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed it, and hope you'll follow me through with the rest of the build. So thanks again, guys. Tally-o and chocks away.